Hello there, in this video we'll be taking a look at a new New Hampshire poll conducted by Emerson. Emerson is a solid pollster with an A- rating from 538, and they do have a slight Democratic lean. Emerson polled both Republican and Democratic primaries, as well as head-to-head matchups between Joe Biden and the top GOP contenders. But let's start by taking a look at the Republican primary, and it was a landslide. Donald Trump received 58% of the vote, compared to just 17% for Ron DeSantis. And this is a much different result than the other New Hampshire polls we've seen so far. I just put out a video breaking down the current state of the GOP primary, and I looked at two New Hampshire polls. One showed Trump up by 11 points, the other showed DeSantis up by 12 points. So we're sort of all over the map. Right now, I'd have to say Trump is the favorite in New Hampshire. In poll after poll, we've seen Trump leading in a crowded field. New Hampshire is famously the first primary in the nation, and I find it very unlikely the field will have consolidated around a not Trump candidate this early. Let's head back and take a look at the Democratic primary. Unsurprisingly, Joe Biden is the frontrunner, but somewhat surprisingly, he's only getting 29% of the vote. I've made several videos about how so many Democrats, particularly young Democrats, don't want Biden to run again. Unfortunately for them, there isn't a clear not Biden candidate, so I doubt we'll see a competitive primary like the 1980 Democratic primary where Ted Kennedy posed a real threat to Jimmy Carter. Finishing second is Bernie Sanders, who won the New Hampshire primary in both 2016 and 2020, and while he hasn't rolled out a 2024 campaign, I'd be shocked if he ended up running. Pete Buttigieg, who finished second in New Hampshire in 2020, finished third with 14%. We've actually seen some polls where Buttigieg does lead Biden in New Hampshire, but his unpopularity among voters of color likely means he wouldn't do well as the not Biden candidate. Vice President Kamala Harris and Senator Elizabeth Warren tied with 11%. This poll, like most Democratic primary polls, show there isn't a clear frontrunner if Biden decides not to seek re-election. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we will see Biden run again. The Democrats just don't have a very deep bench. Next, let's take a look at those general election matchups. New Hampshire has always been a competitive state, and Joe Biden won it by about 7% in 2020. New Hampshire is shaping up to be competitive once again. Biden leads Trump head-to-head 42-38, with 16% saying they'd support someone else. Biden also leads Ron DeSantis head-to-head 42-37, with 14% saying they'd support somebody else. So get your hopes up, third-party candidates. Emerson also polled Biden versus Chris Sununu, New Hampshire's current governor. Sununu leads Biden 44-36, which isn't a terribly surprising result. And for what it's worth, Sununu has said he's considering a 2024 bid, but in this poll, he trails Trump by 51%. If he can't be competitive in his home state, he really doesn't stand a chance. Want to know how New Hampshire factors into the current state of the GOP primary? Watch my full analysis next.